Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. All right, as usual, we're going to be looking at our market analysis. Before we get started, if you're watching the video for the first time, you will find the timestamps that will be available a couple of hours after the webinar is concluded. So if you look on the description of all the videos on my channel, if you click on the show more tab, let me just click the show list first so you can see where to click. If you don't know where to do this, so you click on the show more tab, then you'll see all the timestamps. So you can go to specific pairs if you're not interested in watching the whole thing, and I'm sure it's not everybody who wants to watch everything. So you just click on the pair that you're interested in, and it will take you right there. So for example, if you click on the Dow there, it will take you straight to the Dow analysis. And that's how easy that works. Now you'll also find my contact details under the description of all the videos. That is my email address that you see there, my mobile number, which you can use via Telegram or WhatsApp, the Telegram channel as well, which I use only to post the live webinar links. So you'll find the link for that there, and if you'd like to follow me on TradingView, that is my TradingView link. Now you'll also find there, it says our next course is going to be from the 11th to the 22nd of November. So this course is available on videos. So you can get started before the live session in the live course in November. So that means when you join, you get access to our Slack group. We're going to talk about a bit about our Slack group when we look at some trade recaps. Right, so you get access to our Slack group, Slack trading room, where we do daily webinars, Mondays to Thursdays. So we go into detail. It's not an overview like we do it now on the Sunday webinars. So that is the benefit. So it is the last course of the year. If you're not attending this one, this is the last opportunity for this year. Then we'll resume with the courses again next year, February. Okay, so let's get started with today's analysis. As usual, we're going to start with trade recap. So here I'm recapping some of the trades that we've been trading in the week and some of the setups that we discussed in the webinar, in the last webinar. Okay, so let's go through our trade setups. So this is our Slack group. So if you are interested in joining us, please have Slack downloaded and you register on it. It is so that the process can be quicker. Now let's go to where we look at our setups. Now you'll see on Slack here, what we have is all the pairs that I'll usually go through here. They're all listed here. You find different members discussing all these different charts. So everything is organized. If you're looking at Pound CAD, you'll find all the discussion about Pound CAD and how all the various members, you can see here over 415 members in this channel are looking at this pair. So you've got over 415 people looking at the pairs with the same eyes. Now let's have a look at our trade setups. Now here, this is where I post my setups, not necessarily all the long-term views, because the long-term views, I pin them in these channels as well. Right, so let's check what we have here. Looking at the trade setups. I want to see this one that was posted on Friday. This is USDCAD. I think I posted the wrong chart here. Sorry guys, this is actually the wrong chart. This is actually Pound Chief. This is a new setup. It's not for this week. We'll be looking for this one to do this. You're likely to see this one. We'll be looking to see this one do this in the week. So this was posted on Friday late. All right, so that is Pound Chief. We're looking for this correction to play out and then drop. So this correction can play out the following ways, two ways. It can be a 1, 2, and a 3, and then we drop. So we'll be looking for this one to drop here. We'll see on the indication here. So this is Pound Chief. That is not one of the trades that we're looking for a recap. It's just one of the new trades. All right, so this is CADJPY. Now if you look at CADJPY, which we traded on Wednesday. So now CADJPY played out amazingly well. You can see here we were looking for this one to drop and come down here, and that is exactly what happened. If you've been looking at your charts, this is CADJPY. This is the update on CADJPY. You can see it just crashed through the target as forecasted. So you see this here is showing that we needed to get the corrective structure, which we got there, and then the drop just like that. So that one played out amazingly well. All right, so we have been quite busy in the weeks now. USDCAD, so USDCAD, we've been looking at this corrective structure. If you've been watching for a while, you remember that we forecasted this one while it was still coming down here. We said it was going to go break the top. This is the move that we forecasted. Let me show the move that we forecasted. We said it was going to go break the top here and come break down the low and then come back up here. Now up to this stage, 1, 2, 3, and this that move now is happening. So we also focus on this corrective structure that we're going to come break the top here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now we've been looking at this move for the past 2 weeks or so. Now when this started actually playing to the upside, we pick it up because we know how to forecast the end of the corrections. Now you can see here, if somebody could just be looking at a downtrend and even be trying to sell here, but that's not what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a trend reversal. We're waiting for a corrective structure to conclude. And now, how do we see this corrective structure? It's simple. If you understand how patterns work, now this is what we look at. We see that we've got this three-wave structure, and after the three-wave structure was done, we went this one up. Now you'll see here, you've got another three-wave structure. It's just a little bit of information for you guys. So then you've got here a simple not WXY, ABC structure in this case. ABC structure. Now if you look at this, this has pushed up higher now. This one has pushed up higher. This is just like here, as you can see, the forecast here, and this is how it is playing out now. That's not the update. Here is the update. We've already pushed up higher with an impulse. This is the one now. See, from down here, pushed up immediately. Now we're looking for this one to keep continuing to the upside. So we'll do this. We'll look at this with the market analysis. So it's been a good week of trading. All right, this is now EURAUD. Now EURAUD, the week before we focused that this was going to reverse from here, and we were focused that we was going to have it come back up here and then drop. Now so far it looks like we're not going to go all the way to the blue box. It has already started the down move from here, so we will update this. We did not get to the blue box. We'll see if the structure is still going to allow us to get to the blue box. AUDCHF did this and then up. Okay, we had the drop and then it went back up. So we want to look for a new entry for downside here. That's what we've been trading in the week. And this is EUROCHIF. I think we've shown this one, this charts a couple of weeks back. Now here are some very interesting ones that we traded as well. So let's look at Euro Pound first. Euro Pound has still not played out as yet. It's still pushing up higher like this, but we're still expecting this to drop to the downside. Okay, so that's why you see there's no update on that one as yet. Also Euro New Zealand, we'll have a look at this one now. So Euro New Zealand, we'll see how this one has played out. We are actually looking down here on Euro New Zealand. We'll look at the real chart. There's no update on how that is playing out as yet. CHFJPY crashed through target very easily. We picked it up from here. If you remember 2 weeks back, all the yen pairs were right here. They'd all made this structure. This is the structure that was made by all the yen pairs. From here, we were looking for this to drop, but that was the drop that we got, but that was not a trade setup. The trade setup came when this happened here, and then we got that one to the downside. And that's why you see the update there. You'll see that that crashed through to target very quickly. Let's have a look here. There's no new update on that. Okay, let's just go through to the price chart so you can see where this came from. We had a correction here. We had a move to the downside. This is how CHFJPY played out. Let's look at CHFJPY. And all these trades setups that you see here, we have looked at them, and this was the forecast from this video. So if you've been watching the videos, you should have benefited from this. The only thing that you do not have is the entries and the exits, and when we pull the trigger. So this is the pullback that we wanted, and then this was the drop, right? And euro yen was also another one of the trades that we look at in the last week. Let's go back to Slack again. And this is the last one that we're going to look at. Now this one played out live during our daily webinar. Everybody who watched this would have gotten this trade because we got this corrective structure here, and then this one has dropped to around this level so far. Now let's have a look how this one is playing out up to this point. There's no update there. Let's see, there should be an update. This was when this was triggering, so this was ready. I told everybody you can take this. That's not what we do in the group though. It's just that when it sets up while we are live, we can actually do that. I don't give signals. It's not a matter of you come to the group, I tell you when to buy and when to sell. That's giving signals. We don't give signals. We do trade setups, and because the requirement is that you attend the course first before you join us. Is that, and that's the reason why we want you to attend the course first, is so that you can understand the strategy. If I post a chart like this, you know what to wait for. We've got a very clear strategy. 1, 2, 3 confirmations. We call it the 1, 2, 3 strategy because it's that simple. You confirm 3 things, and when they're confirmed, you pull the trigger. So in this case, the 3 things that we look for had confirmed, and everybody who would have been interested in this trade would have been in profit, because that one has played out like this. Let's go through to euro yen now. We've got a drop now, even though it is just about 50 pips now, we're still looking for it to drop. Now this is where we entered. We got the pullback that we were looking for, and then this one has dropped. So we are here now. We're still looking for continuation to the downside. Okay, so let's have a look again, back to Slack. You'll see there's an update on this pair, and this is the benefit that you get. So there's an update on this one. Let's have a look here. Let's go through there. This was the entry, and then this was the update as this is going down. We actually saw this one coming back up here, and then we're expecting this one to continue lower. This part has not played out yet, but we're looking at the structure. We know this is gonna keep going lower. All right, so this is what we have been looking at in the week, and those are the trades that we have been looking at. And the last one, and if you look through the setups that I've shown you previously, you'll see that we've been trying to sell this for a long time. Last week I showed you that this one had made this structure. We were here, it completed, and that is how CHFJPY played out. Now, all these setups, 95% of the setups that we looked at, they actually played out amazingly well. Now, Bitcoin, which we are going to look at shortly. You remember the setup, we already discussed this one. This was the setup, this was the entry point. This one has dropped here now. It has missed the blue box by a few pips. Looks like we're still gonna come down to the blue box. I'll update that just now. This is how Bitcoin has played out. If you look at the update here, it has played out amazingly well, right? You can see by how much it missed by the blue box. So we missed the blue box by a few pips, but that's not a trend smash. We still want this one to continue lower. We're going to look at the update now. We're going to start with the market analysis now. All right, so that's the trade setups. That's what we've been looking at in the week. So we have been quite busy. It's been a good week. I hope you had a profitable week as well. So let's have a look at the setups for this week. As usual, we are going to start with Bitcoin. Let's start with Bitcoin. Let's have a look. Okay, so that is Bitcoin that we're looking at there. Now, Bitcoin, this is the entry that I've shown. What happened was this has made a three-wave pull back to the downside, and then it made a pulsing move. And when it made this corrective structure, that was even better confirmation that we were going to get the move to the downside. Okay, so now we need to see what is going on here, because it has missed the blue box, yes, by a few pips. Okay, we've made a three-wave move here that looks like a corrective structure. So this is coming down in 3 waves. this can still do this and come down, not that big. This can still come down here and reverse from the blue box. So we just need to watch what happens with this. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for is this one, because it's coming down correctively. See how far this one is going to go. We may still get another move to the upside. Whether it's going to get one more down here first before we get this pullback, that's what we cannot see right now. But what you could end up getting is a structure like this. Okay, so this, even if we get into the blue box, it's not gonna reverse from the blue box. It will just be a deeper corrective structure, and we will eventually continue lower again. So this was my target for the trade at 7,600. Missed by a few pips, but I believe that we're still gonna come down to the downside. Now this setup, I'm not gonna go through it again. I've shown the exact same thing for the last 6 weeks or so, and why this was going to drop. Okay, we showed why this was going to drop, because I looked at euro US dollar, the patterns that were happening on euro US dollar. We saw how identical those were to what Bitcoin was doing, and this is the setup that these are the patterns that we saw on euro US dollar. And to help yourself, you can go and look at those patterns, because I'm not going to go through euro US dollar again and those patterns. You can watch last week's video. You can watch the last 4 videos. I've been showing that we're going to have this move on Bitcoin. We're going to have a 3-wave move to the downside. You're going to have a pullback in 3 waves, and then you're going to have a move like this to the downside. You're going to have a push down and a pull back. This move, I said it was going to happen after this, and this is exactly how this has played out. If you remember last week, I also showed you that when this move ends, you're going to get something like this. This one becomes like a V pattern. It keeps pushing lower like this, but it's not really coming down, and then you're going to get eventually a pullback like this, and we're still going to get this one coming down still. Now, this is how we're looking at this. Now, what is the relationship between this and the Elliott wave structure? Yes, this is the pattern that we looked at last week. Doesn't mean anything as far as the Elliott wave structure is concerned, but let's put it back and relate this to the Elliott wave sequence and cycle. If I remove this, you'll see that the first 3 waves are giving us a X wave. The pullback here is an X, so there's a W, it's an X there, and this is actually a Y that will end here. And that Y is coming in 3 waves. Let's just clean this up here. So now we're no longer looking at the pattern, we're just looking at the Elliott wave structure. And that is the structure that we have here. You've got 3 waves down here in W, and you also have 3 waves down here in Y. So we should get a deeper pullback at some point here like this, and then drop. So that's how we understand the market and how this is going to play out. Yes, right now it looks like you're coming down here like this. It may come down like this, or as I've shown you in the 4-hour time frame, you can't even get this one coming down here. But bottom line is, this is not a trade. You need to just wait for it to do this. If it does this, that's even better. You can get this trade here, even if it is corrective, but eventually we're going to get this. That's how clear Bitcoin is. Now let's run through the rest of the cryptocurrencies. If you look at Ethereum, we also focus on this drop. Now it is also in this corrective structure. There's a possibility for it to do this to the upside. There's no strength to the upside. This is still going to drop. Whatever correction we get here on Ethereum, we're still going to have a drop to the downside. The same thing that we're expecting on Bitcoin as well. Okay, now this has made a 5-wave move to the downside like that, and then a pullback. So this is an A, this is a B, and we'll be looking for this one to give us a C wave to the downside. So let's watch this corrective structure and see what we get. That is Ethereum and Litecoin. Same structure. This is a corrective structure. All of them giving us corrective structures for further downside. I'm not going to go into detail like I did with Bitcoin, but the structures are similar here. You've got a 3-wave move to the downside. This one needs to come back down here for one more. It's still coming down here. All right, so that is Litecoin on the daily. Okay. Then lastly, let's look at Ripple. Ripple also doing the same thing. It's a corrective structure. This is actually not a corrective structure. It's a motive wave all the way coming down here, up here. So Ripple may slightly have a push up, just a slight push up here. But at some point, you're going to need to get a pullback like this. and another move to the upside, and that will make a bigger corrective structure, which means we're going to get one more down on Ripple. And as it is doing that, you'll see that it is making what looks like a V pattern, and that V pattern will come with divergence and will eventually push to the upside. Now, most of you who've been watching the videos will remember why I've been looking for the push to the upside. Let me explain this one clearly again so it doesn't become confusing. Okay, so this is what we're expecting from Ripple. This is a motive wave. A motive wave needs to be corrected. We're going to have something like this, and this one is going to push higher. Then that becomes a three-wave move, and then we're going to expect a drop. Okay, a drop should come with divergence, and when that is happening, this is coming down with a V pattern. So you're making lower lows, divergence should start making higher lows. Should start making higher lows. Then we'll know that we're going to have that move, that reversal from Ripple like this. Okay, why do we want that reversal? If you look on the weekly, this is the structure that we have on the weekly on Ripple. Now, talking about the cryptocurrencies, I should have mentioned this one in the beginning. I'm planning in the near future, in the next couple of weeks, to start doing a video maybe on Mondays or Tuesdays where we just look at the cryptos. So it's just going to be like a crypto corner kind of video. So I just need to get your input on the comment of the videos if you would like to see that, and the convenient time to do this. Obviously, Sunday is out. We cannot do that on Sunday. So the idea is to go through the top 10 cryptocurrencies, top traded, whether it is because of the market cap or the traded volumes. So we're gonna select which cryptocurrencies to look at. So you can put on the comment section of the video which cryptocurrencies you would like to see analyzed on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on what time we're gonna confirm, right? Okay, so that should be interesting. So this is a three-wave move down on Ripple, head offset there. So let's go back here. So after this three-wave move down, we see a pulsing move here, and we see a three-wave move to this level here. So this is why I'm expecting that even if you get a move here to the downside that I showed on the 4-hour, you should still get a pulsing move to the upside and this move to the downside. So the pulsing move, this pulsing move will come as a result of that V pattern that I was talking about. Okay. All right. That is Ripple. And that's what we're going to be expecting. Look out for this here. We're very close to pullbacks. All right. So when we start doing that, we're not only going to look at the 4, we're going to look at maybe 10 to 12 cryptocurrencies. Right. So let's start with also the indices. As also still playing out as you expected. Let's look at the S&P 500. S&P 500, as expected, we are still looking for the diagonal. You all remember that we're looking for this to be a diagonal? What happened last week? We said we're going to have a slight push to the upside and then a pullback. We had the pullback already. You're already getting the push to the upside again on S&P 500. So this is playing out exactly as we anticipated. So this diagonal should come eventually to correct the whole thing, because that will be the whole move to the downside. Okay, so this is a wave 4, and we're looking for this one to complete a wave 5. Okay, so that's the structure that we are looking at on the S&P 500 and the Dow, as well as the NASDAQ. So let's go look at this in the lower time frame. We'll start with the daily. So last week, this is what happened. We were here last week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were here last week. I actually expected that we may have a slight push to the upside before we drop. Okay, so we didn't get that a slight push. This is what we had now. We had a simple 3-wave pull back here, which is what we expected, and now we've got an impulsive move to the upside. Now, what are we looking for? You look for corrective structure. Now, this correction looks big on the daily. We're not looking for a daily correction. We're looking for a 4-hour correction for further upside on the S&P 500 to go to the upper boundary again. Where's the upper boundary? The upper boundary is this one here. It's the lower boundary here. See, everything is well contained within this diagonal. It is wedging in. Now, the requirement for this to be a diagonal is that you have divergence as well between the waves 3 and 5, and that looks like it's already happening. You already have divergence on the RSI. This is still making higher highs, right? Still making higher highs. We don't start it from there, we started from there. So we're still making higher highs while the indicator has already started making lower lows. So we don't just look at the indicators, we look at the sequence as well. Let's have a look at the sequence. Now, if you look at the sequence, let's put in the numbers here. This will be your 1, this will be your 2, this will be your 3, this will be your 4, possibly going for the last one here, and then we get that reversal. Okay, let's see how that goes. That is the diagonal that we're looking at here. All right, so that is the S&P 500. Let's look at the Dow as well. Similar structure. Still looking for this to make a diagonal as well. You can see that they've also played out exactly the same way. You can see exactly on the lower boundary of the diagonal. Last week, when we drew the diagonal, this had not happened as yet. We had not had the drop. So you can see that the drop came, you sit right on top of the diagonal, and we're pushing higher. Not that we trade trend lines, but that's how a diagonal plays out. Okay, so let's see how this one goes. You'll be looking for this one to push again higher, so we can get the drop back here. Right, so we'll update this one next week. So what are we waiting for? What is the likely trades to play out in the next week? You look for corrective structures. Look for corrective structures. What you have now is impulse moves. Now, if you look at the lower degree here on the Dow, you see why this is misbehaving here. There we go. Now, if you look at this one here on the Dow, you want this to happen. You want to get a corrective structure, and then you're going to push it higher to the top boundary. Okay, that is the Dow, and the NASDAQ has got a similar structure, although the overall pattern is slightly different. Now we've got this clear corrective structure on the NASDAQ. This needs to be broken to the upside. This correcting here will confirm that this structure to the downside, or this pattern to the downside, has completed, and we're going to have a retest of possibly the previous top or even higher. So we've got a corrective structure here that's 3 down, 3 up, and 3 down. Okay, so that is a WXY corrective structure here. And now you've got a pulsing move. All you want to get is a corrective structure. Now look for this to be a 4-hour correction. Let's look at the overall structure here and why we're looking at it like that. Still within the diagonal. So that's why we want this one to give us one more push to the upside. Okay. So even if this is 1, 2, 3, this one becomes a 4. So whatever 3 waves is going to come here will be a 5. Then we'll look for this to do that. So what is your trade? Your trade is to look for this one to go to the top, previous high here, and that's what we're looking for in the next week. That is the NASDAQ. Now looking at the UK 100. UK 100, let's look at this on the 4-hour first. Now the UK 100 has made a passing move to the upside. So we looked at this one to be making an ABC structure. Let's switch this off here. This one to be making an ABC structure like this. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. Now you've got a pullback here. Let's watch here. You've got to move to the upside. Wait for a corrective structure. This can be a 3-way pullback, and then we continue with the move to the downside. And this one plays out here. So you've got to move upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and A, B, C down. Let's have a look here. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C is what we're looking for. Okay. Let's see if there's something on the chat box here. Okay, no, there's nothing there. All right, so that's what we're looking at. So watch out for this corrective structure. I would not be very keen to be buying the UK 100 like this. You need to have confirmation. Okay, so this can happen with the UK 100. Now DAX, similar structure. Also, this is not a reversal. We've made 1, 2. This is what we looked at as 1, 2, let me just draw all those waves. We looked at this last week as a 1, 2, 3, and we're supposed to get a wave 4 like this here. Doesn't look, it looks like we've got a truncation in wave 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in wave 5 truncates, and then we're now reversing with this. Now this does not look complete. This structure here looks like we're going to have a slight bit of downside on the DAX. Now let's have a look on the 1 hour. Now on the 1 hour, it will look like you've got an impulsive move to the upside. This impulsive move can just do this. Be a 3-wave pullback, and then we continue lower. Right, so that is the 1 hour on there. If you were looking for a trade, you need to have confirmation the way we look at it. As far as we're looking at this, there's not trade as yet there. All right, so that is DAX, NIFTY. NIFTY already started making this corrective structure on the 1 hour. You already have this 1, 2 with a gap, even if the gaps are part of market structure, so we include those as well. This is a 3-wave structure. Now this 2-wave structure is not complete as yet. We're looking for this one to continue slightly lower. If we're going to have a trade here, we need to have 3 waves here. This one needs to break out of the 3 waves. We need to break out of the 3 waves. That will result in a trade to push at least to the previous high. That is the NIKKEI, and lastly, the NIFTY. Let's go to the daily on the NIFTY. See the overall structure here. So last week we looked at the NIFTY to have played out a running flat like this. Look at this. That is a running flat. We had a pulsing move to the upside. We expect this one to make a corrective structure. We don't know which type of corrective structure it's going to make, but this should push slightly higher after that. So running flat, completed. Pulsing move already started. We just want to get another corrective structure for another move to the upside. All right, so that's the indices. Now let's look at the majors. We start with the Euro US dollar. Euro US dollar looks like we're finally getting that corrective structure that we've been waiting for a long time. This is the ending diagonal. Let's show the structure and the labeling on the Euro US dollar. You can take a screenshot. You can go study this and see if you agree, or see if this helps you. Now, what do we want with the euro? Euro, we're already starting a pulsing move here to the upside. If we get a corrective structure, this is confirming the move that we've been looking for a long time. A move that will correct this whole thing. That could even come back to the 61% of this. That's what we're looking for. How is that coming by? Because we've got a 1, 2, 3 in red. Let me show this one in red. You've got from the top here 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 is what we've been looking at for the longest time. You can see from July last year. So from around about July last year, this has been coming down with this diagonal. So it's been a long time. We've been forecasting that, and this now looks like it's going to play out. It's the only time now where we're getting divergence between these 2 points on the RSI. Before that, there was no divergence at all. Now let's switch this off and see what we're looking at. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Now if you look internally here, you've got another structure like this. That's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. This is also a triangle here and makes a 5. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within the wave 3, and then the wave 5 is ending with a diagonal. Let me clean this up so you can see it clearly. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is one of the simplest ones because it's just a pulsing move that you count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 moves are very simple. That's why you don't find them that often in the market. Now, what do we have now? We already have a pulsing move to the upside. Let's count the diagonal here. This is how we're looking at the diagonal. Okay, I'm looking at the diagonal like this. Now, if I count this here, I have to go down to the lower degree, which is the green degree in this case. 1. 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now after that, that 5, just remember that this 5 is lower than the red one. After this green wave 5, let's just show the higher degree here in red here. The wave 5 is the one in the higher degree. Let's just show the one in the higher degree with square brackets, square brackets, square brackets, square brackets, just so you can follow the degrees here. The green degree is also labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4. You see here we've got a triangle. 1, 2, 3. This could have been another degree lower. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in all the waves, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 internally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 internally, and that's what you must see when you label. You must see fractals. Okay. Now this has now given us an impulse. We're going to be looking for this to do this back to the 61% of this whole move up to the current price level. Okay, so that should be clear enough. Now, if you just trade trend lines, you'd want this to break out of this. At least wait for it to break out of this, then you get a confirmation that we are now ready to go. Now, if you look at the RSI, we've started making divergence there. You see here, we've started, not that one. On the RSI, we've already started making divergence as this was making the lower lows. This is the only time, if you look at this whole thing, this is the only time where you got divergence. So we will be looking for this to be an impulsive move. We get this and then upside. Right, so very clear now, Euro US dollar. Let's see how this plays out. Pound US dollar. Now pound US dollar, we're looking initially at a 3-wave move here and then push up higher. And then we saw that this was actually playing out this expanding flat. So last week we said we're going to expect pound to give us a deeper corrective structure and then a further move to the downside. So pound is still going to go lower. Let's see on the lower time frame, the 4-hour, and look at this corrective structure here. Now on the 4-hour, we've already dropped in 5 waves. Already had a corrective structure in 3 waves there. That correction may be even 3 like that, and then we come down like this. Now if it becomes deep here like this, that means we're going to have one more up. And we're going to have these 3 waves up, 3 waves back, and then 3 waves up before we come down. Now this is fine. Remember, this is happening right out that critical level that I showed a couple of weeks ago. If you're getting a corrective structure at this critical level, let's show it in the weekly. That means that is going to break that. So this is the critical level I'm talking about. Has not been touched only with the pound. The other pairs have already touched, like your pound chief has already touched this critical area. Now, what I mean here is that if you keep getting this, and then this comes back down here, and you start getting corrective structure sideways here, obviously it's not going to be this long. It's not going to be that long or that big a corrective structure. But if we start doing this and then it comes back down here and then it goes up here, this is still a corrective structure. It's still a 3-wave pullback. We can still come back down here. And we can break this low and then go back to the upside. So now let's watch what is happening on the lower time frame so we can get direction of what's going to happen in the higher degree. Pound US dollar, let's switch off the labelings here so it can make it clear. So now on the 4-hour, this is what I've just shown. We've got 3 up, looks like 3 down, may get 1 more up. So this one can even do this. So it will be 3 up, 3 back, and 3 up. That will still be a corrective structure, after which we'll still expect downside. So the idea here is to wait for this corrective structure to complete. This will fill here before dropping. Okay. This will fill here before dropping. What will happen here? It's going to fill this up with a corrective structure, which we will understand, and we'll focus the end, and then we'll trade to the downside. Right, that is pound US dollar. We're going to do the rest of the pound pairs, but for now we're just doing the measures, the US dollar pairs now. Let's look at US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD is the trade setup that I showed you. We picked it up as soon as it made this first passing move on the 4-hour. We waited for the corrective structure here, which we got, which was very small. Now we're looking for this one to break to the upside, to come at least break the previous high here. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for on US dollar CAD. US dollar CHF, still have a trade here where we're looking for this one to break to the downside. Now we're going to be looking for a buy setup here. Any corrective structure, we'll look for this to, we'll look to take this one to the downside. I've shown the trade on trade setups, not exactly playing out as planned, but that's okay, you don't win them all. So now if you look at the daily, it doesn't look like it's gonna drop now. We have broken the top here, so we move down. So this is the trade that I'm looking for on the daily, for it to come down here. So I'm not seeing any sell setups as yet, so there's a possibility that we do this, we push one more up, then we start getting the sell setups, then we start touching this one here, then we got this trade. So if we get this one to be a corrective structure, then that means we're gonna get some more to the upside. Okay, so let's watch. So usually we trade this one against the Euro US dollar. So if Euro US dollar is gonna push higher, this one will just drop like that. Expecting continuation to the upside on Euro US dollar. So expect US dollar CHF to come lower. Audi US dollar has made this expanding flat, came back down in 3 waves. It is pushing higher. Now look for another 3-way pullbacks so we can get another move to the upside. So what is happening here is that we are getting this corrective structure. So this could be your first correction, X and Y, but it's very premature to be labeling this. You need more data. What we know for sure is that we've got a pulsing move here. We're looking for a corrective structure. The stock and the RSI have confirmed for that. We're looking for the upside after the corrective structure. New Zealand, similar to Audi US dollar, you've got a pulsing move up, you've got a 1, 2, 3 down. There's a bit of a trick here with this one. This 3 down, does it end here or we're still gonna get this one? So let's look at the both possibilities. Now, if it ends here, it means we've started a pulsing move to the upside. Okay, and there's a possibility that this can be a running flat or an expanding flat if it breaks the top. If it doesn't go and break the top and push lower, you still have a running flat. Okay, now the second option is that this one has made this structure here. It's going to be a 3 waves and then it's going to come back up here and you still have this one as one like this. So this is the expanding flat we're referring to. So there's a number of possibilities. Both these possibilities are important to know whenever you got changes. And as much as you've got many options, it doesn't mean you are gonna lose out if any other option plays out. When you've got this number of options, you get confirmations according to the strategy that we use, the indicators that we use. Only indicators that do not lag price, that's what we use. We don't use these lagging indicators. You can be trading RSI and just these moving averages without understanding the algorithm of the indicator. Indicators, they lag, but the way we use, we've got a combination that we use that actually tells us ahead of time that the cycle is going to change or the swing is going to change. And that works accurate, pinpointed to the exact end of the correction. That's how we're able to pick them up. That's New Zealand US dollar. US dollar ZAR. So US dollar ZAR is a bit interesting. Now, here's a question for traders, Elliott Wave traders specifically. When you get an impulsive move and another impulsive move, how do you deal with it? I'm not going to answer that. That's something that we cover. There's a whole lot of instances where you get an impulsive move and another impulsive move, because what you expect is that after an impulse and a correction, you must get a push to the upside. Now, what if you don't get a corrective structure? Instead, you get another impulsive move. And that is what solves a lot of confusions in most of the charts, because that is what usually happen about, you can call it 70% of the time. Okay, so now what am I expecting? We've got a pulsing move, we've got a pulsing move. I'm expecting that we're going to get a corrective structure here. Let's come back, retest the low here, and then back here. Okay, so that is my expectation on USDZAR. If we come back up here, we should go back down and then move with the structure like this. That will be your A, that will be your B, that will be your C. Now this is long-term focused. What we know for what we can focus is that we've got a pulsing move. We wait for the correction. We'll target the next, the previous low on this chart. That is USDZAR, and we can look at it in a number of ways. Right, let's go through the yen pairs. Now, pound yen yesterday with last week rather, we thought this was going to make a 5-wave move to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5. That is still possible, but it looks too deep now, and we actually invalidate it if it reaches 50% of the wave 3 here, and it looks like it's very close to that. Now this can still do this and make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it does not look good anymore. What I'm rather expecting is that we had a pulsing move here. We are now getting a move here. It's corrective. We're going to get a pullback, and we're going to get a move to the downside. Okay, that's what I'm expecting on pound yen. With this move here, correction and continuation down. That is pound yen. So trades for the yen, you wait for pullbacks here. I do not think that we're going to break out of this. USDJPY, we had a trade for this one. From here, we bought up to, we started reversing from there. The target was here. We missed it by a few pips. That's fine. Now what do we have? We've got a 3-wave move here. Are we going to push higher? That's what we need to see here. If we're going to get a corrective, a pulsing move here, so we're going to expect a corrective structure to then go and complete that move. We got out of this move when we started reversing, because we actually lost almost all the gains because we bought it right here. So we right back at break even, rather exit the trade with no loss and wait for another entry. Okay, so let's see if we're going to get this one playing out. If we do, then this is going to play out eventually what we forecasted originally. Euro, I already showed the trade that we took here. Let's go to the 1 hour. We're already trading this one from last week. So Euro, we traded from here. It had dropped here. We said we want a pullback, and then it gave us a perfect 3-wave pullback and gave another entry here. So we could have entered this twice, then we've dropped to this. Now it looks like it's reversal. It does not look like a reversal. That's why I showed you the update. When we started trade recaps, I'm still expecting this one to complete the target. Now, if you look at this looks like it's coming down with diagonal, or rather a V pattern. Let's see how this is going to play out. For now, we're still in this trade. We're still trading it down. It's a risk-free trade. This is why we're looking for further downside. This is was the update that I sent people that are already in this trade. Then we're gonna have this something like this. Then we can have continuation lower. That is Euro yen. Chief, also one of the trades that we looked during trade setups. This one has made quite a strong pulsing move. We're going to need to get a corrective structure here and see if we're going to get a bit of a pullback. Let me look at this one on the daily, see the overall structure. See what that slight pullback means. That pullback doesn't mean anything as far as the daily is concerned. Why do I say that? That's because this can just continue to correct from there and we go lower. You see, when you don't look at this in all perspective, you may lose the trade. Now, this one has got a very clear structure. We've got a move here. It's a pulsing move. We've got a running flat in the middle here. It's a 1, 2, 3 up. It's a 1, 2, 3 back. It's a 1, 2, 3 up. Now, what do we expect? We're expecting this one to come down in an impulse. This is why we sold Chief here. You saw this one on trade setups, how perfectly that worked. Now this was the target on this one. Actually took a modest target, as you've seen on trade setups. So this one can actually get here and even break lower. So let's watch. This is still coming down. But if you look at this one on the 1 hour, looks like you've got a reversal. Okay, doesn't mean anything. Now what you could have here even is that this does this. You already have your pulsing move. You're coming down here. It's correcting here. It's going to break lower and possibly do this and then down. There's a number of ways this can happen. Another way this can happen is that this one makes this. Another regular flat makes a move to the upside and then come down. So either way, you're just looking for this to eventually make this corrective structure, which will eventually trade down. Okay, Chief, that's Chief. And Audi, like the other Audi pairs, let's look at this one. We've got a pulsing move and a pulsing move to the upside. We're going to look at corrective structure here. Looks like we're still going to have a bit of a continuation to the upside on the Audis. Okay, so the Audis are going to push higher. Still not reversing here. New Zealand should do what the Audi is going to do. So this New Zealand structure is actually a little bit tricky because it's showing that the New Zealand is going to do the opposite of what Audi yen is doing, and that is not the case. Audi and New Zealand, they move together. So we're going to have a look at New Zealand now, and we're going to revisit Audi yen again to see what the relationship is. We already have a pulsing move here. We're already getting a corrective structure. So this one can go back and retest the low here. But if you look at Audi, doesn't look like that structure, but the structure that we see clearly is New Zealand. So that means the Audi may actually drop from the current levels. We may actually get a three-way move like that. Okay, so let us rather look at New Zealand yen because it's got a clearer structure. Whatever New Zealand yen is going to do, Audi yen will follow. Okay, that is Audi yen and New Zealand yen. CAD yen showed you the trade on this one, played out perfectly. Now, this is what I mean by a different perspective. If you see CAD yen on the 1 hour, it looks like this move to the downside had ended, but look what happened. This was just a three-wave pullback. These are the three-wave pullbacks that I keep talking about. Is it going to push higher? I believe this is a corrective structure, and this one will push lower like that. Now, there was a trade here that I showed you during trade setups on, was it 4 hour? Let's have a look here. So this is the trade. On the 4 hour, target crashed. And what are we looking for? Continuation pattern to the downside, one more down. Okay, even though we took a modest target, we don't want to give back profits just because you wanted to go exactly where you wanted to go. So you take profits early. Let's see if this is going to do this. There's a possibility it can even do a running flat or a regular flat rather and continue lower. Let's see how that goes. So if CAD is going lower, oil should be continuing slightly lower. We'll do oil. That's the last pair that we do on this webinar. Right, so that is CAD yen. Now let's look at the silver and gold. We'll start with gold. Silver and gold, we're looking at gold first. Okay, now if you look at silver and gold, silver has a clearer structure than gold. Gold we traded here. You see this line? We actually traded from this here. I showed you this in one of the Sunday webinars. So that would have been the one for the 23rd of September. No, rather the 25th September, 25, 26. Wherever that happened. I showed that this was going to happen. Let's have a look here. 1, 2, 3. Blue did reach the blue box here, and then it's made a move to the upside. Now we are correcting here. It's going to make a slight move to the upside again. So there's still continuation from gold. We'll be looking for it to continue higher. Okay, you can see here that's a clear three-way move here. Let me use a different color. Let's use red here to show you've got your 3 waves down, you've got 3 waves up, and then you get your 3 waves down here. No, it's actually 5 down, 3 up, and 5 down. Now you're looking for this one to go retest the top again. That's how gold is playing out. Now, silver is the one between gold and silver and gold that has not quite touched the blue box, and it's not a requirement. It's a guideline to the blue box. It's just that when it goes to the blue box, we know that it is a high probable trade. Now, what do we look at here? It's a move to the downside. It's a 5-wave move to the downside, a pullback in 3 waves, exactly the same structure as gold. We've made a pulsing move. Remember 2 weeks back, I showed you that this was going to happen. Even before this correction was going to happen, I showed, if you watch the video 3 weeks back, you will see that I showed you that you're going to have a corrective structure here, and you're going to have a move to the downside. Then you're going to have a move to the upside. Now, this is your corrective structure. Look out for a trade here for upside to go retest the top. Look for trades to the upside. Look for these buy setups. Even if it does this, this is still your flag and you still want to buy to the upside. So we're still looking for upside on gold in the coming sessions. Now we can run through the rest of the pound pairs. Now I'm going to look only in the last swings here. I'm not going to go through into the detail of the whole structure. I do that almost every week with this video, so you can refer to those videos as well if you want long-term views on this. Now we've made a move to the downside. We have made a 3-wave pullback. Now after the 3-wave pullback, we've already made a pulsing move. That's how we're looking at this. Now what we want here is that this corrects here and then we continue lower. Now it does not look like that's the structure that we're going to get. So if we see this pullback here and this pulsing move here, there's a possibility this, makes a corrective structure, then you have something like this. And if you have something like this, that means the first move that we got on pound chief, we're going to get it again. So that will all depend on how this plays out. So what are we waiting for? We already have a setup in our group, so where we are waiting for this one to do this. And that can also do this, and we get the trade and it does this, but we know how to manage that. Okay. And which other option? Yes, the other option is that this one here, this is one that is what I was talking about the complex corrective structures. This one can make a running flat like that. What do you see here? It's a move up, it's a correction, and it's a move up. And then we expect a drop. I saw some members or some followers asking on YouTube how this is even possible. That is what we call a complex structure, complex correction, and we spend almost the whole day just explaining the difference between these corrective structures in one of the course sessions. That is pound chief, and we'll be looking for these 2 options. A pulsing move will give us a correction and does this, it will definitely come back. And the corrective structure, it will do this. So if it doesn't do this first, we're going to have a corrective structure. So 2 things we're waiting for, a correction or a pulse. One will confirm for us which structure we are looking for. Pound chief. So the pound AUD. So pound AUD has made this pullback here, has made a pulsing move. Let's see if we're going to start correcting here. If we start correcting here on pound AUD, we're going to move to this here. But there is a possibility that this one does this, and then we push up higher for one more. But eventually, this will drop to the downside. Stay away from pound AUD for now. The structure on the 4-hour is not very clear. It is a corrective structure that we're looking for overall here. We will look for a sell setup. Right now, we don't have anything, and we cannot even see this structure clearly. So we wait for more data on pound AUD. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand is clearer than pound AUD. We got a 3-way pullback. It's a simple 3-way move here, where this one will push higher. This one has not really quite gone into the blue box, but we've made a nice reversal here. We made a reversal last week, where this is now a 1, a 2, and a 3. This is allowed. to have a short C or a short W. Now what we have here is already a pulsing move has happened. Now look for trades to the upside. Look for trades to the upside. You should make some money going up. There's pound, New Zealand, pound CAD. Pound CAD also pulling back. We already have a pulsing move. We're coming down with this. It's not going to come down like just like that. You already have a pulsing move. You expect a bit of a corrective structure. This to go retest the top. Even if we come down for one and we do this, that will just be meaning that we're going to get sideways on pound CAD first. So what is the trade for the next week? We're looking for this to correct, and you're looking for this to come back up here. You can look at this. You can see this one clearly on the 1 hour. You can look for trades to the upside. So the 1 hour has got a pulsing move. Wait for corrective structure, something like this. You trade it back up. That is pound CAD. Now let's run through the pound pairs. Euro pound is the one that I showed that I'm still looking for a sell setup on this one. Now wait for this one to give you something like this, and then downside. Let's just check something here. Okay, so this one will come down. You've got a very nice structure there. Okay, that's why you've got a very nice structure there. 1 hour correction here, you are at least going to drop back to this level minimum. So if you get it 1 hour correction here, just below this, take it back to this level. Don't forget risk to reward ratio must be good. If it sets you up like that, you can't just take it just because we see it going down. We must make sure the proper risk is applied, proper risk management is applied, and we take the trades on confirmation. It's a clear three-wave structure here, and they come in and they push and move to the downside. EURJPY, I think you'd have seen in one of the trade setups, EURJPY, I tried to sell it after it did this. I actually tried to sell it 2 times. When it did this here, I thought EURJPY was going to do this. It pushed up higher and then came back down like this. I wanted to get another attempt here like this. Now it pushed up higher again. Now I'm looking for this. Now, why have I not sold here and sold here if I'm looking for downside? That's because the structure and the strategy did not allow us to trade when we do not have a trade setup. So if you can have a forecast, sometimes that does not play out. Now, what do we have here? This one looks like it's going to play out and it looks like we're going to come down. Didn't play out because it was actually making a 3-wave structure like that. Now we've completed a 3-wave structure, but this slightly changes the whole cycle because this can only just come back here. Then you can even go back up like that. Then you get a move like this. So for now, we've got enough information to determine that this corrective structure can push lower. That's EUROCHIF, Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand on the 1 hour has made a move down, made a move like this. That's the one that you saw on trade setups as well. I was looking for this one to correct here and drop. But instead, we made this structure. 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so very clear structure. We're coming down here. This one may do this, correct there, and then we can keep coming lower. Let's see how this goes. No clear trade setup there. EURAUD follows Euro New Zealand. So this will pull back here and lower. Let's go back 1 to Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand can also just do that, then lower. Let's see. Right, EuroCAD. Let's look at EuroCAD now. Has made 5-wave moves to the upside. So since we're expecting the euros to pull back, we'll expect this one to pull back as well. Now let's have a look at the structure that has already started to the downside. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a pulsing move here and a correction. So this whole thing is actually a regular flat. Now let's have a look here at the structure. We've got a three-wave pullback, a move up. You can get this. Now if it's doing this, that means that this structure is not going to play out and we're going to have one more up. That one more up may also just come to retest this top before we come down. Now we wait for this structure. We wait for this structure, the whole corrective structure here. Can change and do this, make a regular flat and push higher. So wait for this to build. Fill in here. All right, that is EUROCAD. Now we can run through some of the cross pairs. AUDCHF also had one of the trades here, a trade setup here. If you remember, this is where we took the trade here, dropped, but we didn't get, it didn't come right here. This is the correction. We got this drop here. It looked like it was going to go all the way, but then all the gains were reversed here. So that happens sometimes. So we're gonna have passing move here. You've got a corrective structure. We'll be looking for this to push lower. That's AUDCHF. Leave it for now. Audi New Zealand. Let's see Audi New Zealand on the higher degree structure for hour. Now Audi New Zealand could have made a three-wave structure here, three-wave pullback. 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 back, and 1, 2, 3 down. Is this complete, or is this going to be a regular flat here and then we actually complete down here somewhere and then we do this? But we'll be looking for Audi New Zealand to give us that. So this looks like this is the end of this corrective structure as far as this is concerned. If we get a corrective structure, we take it from the bottom, from right here, and then we take it up back to the previous high. Okay, so watch for a corrective structure here. As Audi New Zealand, CADJPY. Expect further downside because I'm expecting further downside on oil as well in the next coming sessions, at least back to this level. That is CADJPY, and Audi CAD should be the opposite because the CAD is weak. We'll look for this to do this and then upside. So that's very easy there. Now, New Zealand CAD, this big impulsive move that we got last week. I forecasted this move, you won't believe it, 2 years back. There is a video that you can watch on my channel, how to forecast. I'll tag it on the video, how to forecast degrees and waves. I did that about 2 years back. When I did that video, you will see that I forecasted that we're going to have a move to the upside there. Let's have a look here. Let's put it on this one on the weekly. Now, every member who has ever attended my course knows that I've been looking for this move because this is one of the pairs that we use as an example when we do practicals to do that. Now, there's a lot of numbering here that is cluttering the chart. I want to show you why I've been expecting a move to the upside. Now, this is one of the most clear examples to indicate how wave theory works. Now, this is what I did. I was looking for this. I was looking for this to be a corrective structure, and I was looking for this. That did not happen. This move did not happen. Yes, we got this move to the upside, and it's a big move. Remember, this is a weekly. So we got this, we traded this one here. It did not go all the way. It just tested the top here and then came back down here in 3 waves. What do I mean 3 waves? This is your 3 waves. You've got a running flat there. Okay? You've got a zigzag there. Now you've got another 3-wave move to the upside here. Let me show you all the 3 waves clearly. Let's clean this up here. Now you also have this one. We need to use yellow because that's in the yellow degree. So this is the move that we wanted to go all the way. It didn't. It actually made a corrective structure and came back down. Now we then expected when it was doing this, and we can watch this coming down to come and make a regular flat here. Now what do we expect? We want this one to at least come and retest the top again. and push higher. So New Zealand CAD long term, we're looking for it to push higher again. So we'll see. We've got already have a big impulse. Is that enough to take us up back, at least back to that level? Let's see how this one is going to play out. Now watch that video, how to analyze decrease in waves. I'll get you the proper title on the video, and I'll tag it here on the so you can see it on the video. When the video is playing, it will appear here. I'll put in a card for it. All right, so that is a New Zealand CAD, New Zealand CHF. New Zealand CHF, this is a weekly now. We're in a corrective structure. This is going to go lower. Let's look at that correction now in the lower time frame, say the 4-hour. What you're seeing there on the weekly where it did the small correction is this one here. It's a three-way move to the upside. That's a W. Now we need to figure out what is going to happen with this one, because that will come and make an X here. So let's see. Not clear now. We're still gonna have this one pushing. Doesn't look like we're gonna push higher. Let's check here something. We're coming down. Definitely coming down here, even if it's gonna be a three-way first, but we're coming down here. We're gonna get a corrective structure and we're gonna look for this to come down. Okay, that is New Zealand CHF. New Zealand CHF. And lastly, we look at oil. Oil, we've already looked at this a number of times. The current move has played out as forecasted. Now, how far will this move go? We are at a critical, almost at a critical level now. Let's see if we're gonna get a corrective structure here and get this one to do this. So we'll look for a structure like this, A, B, C, and then we get this one to have made this move here. And that is oil. Then we'll expect I've shown this a couple of weeks back, then we'll expect this one to do that. Okay, that's what we're going to be looking at oil. Continuation lower, at least to break this low and come back and to around this area. That's where the blue box is. I'll focus it and you'll see it next week. Now there's still continuation here to the downside. Let's look at the 4-hour and see that structure. Now looking at the 4-hour, this is a corrective structure. So you guys should be back on. Everything should still be in order. Let's carry on. See, everybody's still on. Okay, so we're still sorted. All right, so that is oil. Actually, this is the end of the webinar. Good luck in the next weeks. Don't forget to subscribe and also like the video so you can get a notification next time I post the video. Hope you enjoyed that, and good luck trading in the next week. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.